Welcome back, everybody. I listen to the Discus Lariat Collective podcast. I'm your host, Warren. I'm here with Glenn, and today we are going to just chat about what happened on AEW Dynamite last night. In the essence of time, I suppose you could say, we're not going to go through every single aspect, but we are going to hit on things we liked. There wasn't actually an awful lot that we didn't like either, so that's even better. So before we get into it, if you're watching this on YouTube, drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And then if you listen to this where you get your podcasts, give us a follow wherever you get them. And yeah, it really helps us out. So we'll just get into it. I'll just list off a few things that stood out to me that we actually really liked, and then we'll just kind of banter with them then. So first thing that stood out that I really liked was Christian Cage's in-ring debut. He fought Frankie Kazarian. Savage match. We were only saying before we came on, Christian hasn't lost a step. Chap is on it. Kazarian, again, he's been wrestling consistently for the good 20 years anyway. Do you know what I mean? He's always in shape. He's always ready to go. And Christian didn't show any signs of rust in the slightest. Like, there wasn't a moment where I was like, oh, that looked a bit off. I actually genuinely didn't. I just thought it did everything that I needed to do. It was almost like, oh, you passed the first test of being here, because a lot of people, obviously, when they sign for a new company, especially a big name like that, they will get thrust right into the main event picture. And although he is gonna be eventually, do you know what I mean? But it is kind of cool just seeing him like open the show as well. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't the main event or nothing, it was just opening the show. Him and Kaz had great chemistry, and Christian picked up the win with the kill switch, so that was class. I'll get your thoughts on it in a sec. I'll just run through the other two bits as well. Another thing that stood out was the little backstage brawl part with Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. Thought was real good, especially that moment where MJF opened the door and Chris Jericho and the boys were standing there. Chris Jericho with the biker gloves on and stuff was pretty cool. And then Jake Hager was on the other door, so they ended up having a brawl. The only one, I suppose, gripe I had with it is when you're almost throwing around finishers in a backstage brawl, when realistically you wouldn't be. You'd be just digging the head off everyone. It was grand though. It did exactly what it needed to do. It showed both boys, like both sets of lads, kind of they show a bit of animosity towards each other, not just talk shit. They actually did something, and that was great to see as well, because it didn't give you too much, but it gave you just enough to be like, oh, I can't wait for these boys to have like a War Games or a Blood and Guts match, something like that. You know what I mean? You're looking for something to sink your teeth into. So that was deadly. I also loved, well, not necessarily loved, but we were saying about before we came on, was Ty Conti. On a stellar run lately, and as much we were chatting about it as well, with the likes of Ty Conti, she seems like she's always on Dark and always on Dynamite, literally, if not every week, every second week. And it's a testament to her that, like, now she's getting that shine. Do you know what I mean? She's in the spotlight now. And as we said before we came on, as much as you like to think wrestling isn't about wins or losses. So seeing her consistently like have great matches or like have a good performance under her belt, that'll stand to her a lot more than winning or losing. Do you know what I mean? If she was to come out and have matches like she did last night, teaming with Shida, that's going to serve her well going forward. And then she's just getting more confident in the ring as well. You can see it. Like,
if I were to provoke a thought-provoking question to you and say, what's one of Shawn Michaels' top 5 matches of all time? People will either say it was against Austin, Triple H, or Undertaker. If it's the same 3 that I'm thinking of, all 3 lost.
Well, there you go. Yeah, like Shawn Michaels has, like, I know obviously we're going to jump into WWE there real quick, but Shawn Michaels has pretty poor WrestleMania record for everyone who doesn't really know. 6 wins at the big show, even though he's Mr. WrestleMania. 6 wins and 11 losses, from what I remember. So that's pretty wrote off. But again, it's all about what you do in your time, what you do in the spotlight. And Ty Conti is really shining lately. And then the last big thing that I can take from Dynamite. Now, obviously, there was a few other bits, but again, we're not going to get into everything. The likes of the Bucks kind of like proving their allegiance out to John Moxley and almost leaving Kenny Omega to span in the elite, it feels like now. That was a great moment. But again, we can sit here and talk about that maybe next week or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, when we have a bit of time. But that was a great moment.
It relates to a story as opposed to just, a good uplifting, adds to the show. Like, you could have put that on any week of
exactly. Yeah. And it's like, as I said, we're trying not to go into what we didn't like, the likes of QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes. Don't want to hear about it. Do you know what I mean? So let's forget about it. But and the big thing then that stood out as well for the final thing that I'll chat about is the Arcade Anarchy or whatever it was called, that street fight at the end. That was fantastic. Finally, we're seeing like best friends are kind of like establishing themselves now as this kind of team that are a bit out there. They'll go out of their way to win a match. You know what I mean? And they're always in these kind of gimmick matches, but it's deadly. They suit it really well. We see was it Trent Ma as well, rock up in the minivan, throw the thumbs up to Sue, stuff like that. Miro looked great in it. Again, finally, I'm just dying for him to kind of like break the shackles of Kip Sabian and this whole team, because he is going to go on to dominate, and he's the kind of guy that you can build as a big star. And once he's out of this feud, he's only going to go up. Like, do you know what I mean?
I do want to see Miro fight and win the belt.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I would love to see him win that world title. But yeah, Miro savage. Chris Statlander returned as well. She was in like the claw machine, where the aliens, you usually pick them up, and she absolutely bounced the pane of glass off Penelope's head. So that was pretty cool to see. Yeah, it was actually really good. Return of Trent as well. Sorry, Jesus, I heard I am saying about his ma. Yeah, he returned as well. He was out injured for ages, so it was great. And it's that kind of match isn't for everyone, but neither is the likes of, say, the barbed wire. That match, that's not for everyone. You know what I mean? And that's what I liked about AEW Dynamite last night. I feel it had something for everyone. Do you know what I mean?
It was a very it wasn't selective with its content. We complain about other shows for being very kind of like, you know, misplaced in the pieces. Everything I wouldn't have changed around the card, maybe except for the Cody Rhodes thing. I wouldn't have changed around even too much, even if I were to want to add anything. It's only building to something that's already good. I don't feel like I have to actually uproot and replant the way we typically do. So, you know, strong AEW night for the most part. Like you said, that match, I think that we saw Miro and Co in this match, or not this particular match, but we've seen them compete against one another, and we actually expressed a bit of dissatisfaction before about with the generic booking that we were getting, in that you know, we can see more from all of them, and I think this is exactly what we wanted and exactly what we got. You know, Orange Cassidy and all, they looked great. Obviously, I think in terms of the booking that we got recently, where they were on the losing streak, I think the right people were picked to win. And like you said, Miro's going to branch off, and he is going to go ahead and tackle the main event scene a la Lashley-esque. I can see it happening, where he's just going to go on this tear. He's going to start picking up the wins. He's going to start fucking dominating all other competitors, because the feud that he's had so far, while great and all, he needs to work and move forward and progress. And that's what I'm looking forward to. But that all around, that was an entertaining match.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, it was class. And I thought, like, I remember when it was first announced there last week or whatever it was, I was like, Jesus Christ, Arcade Anarchy, what else are they going to throw us? Because again, I understand people always make the comparisons with WCW a lot. They're always like, it's just gimmick matches. It's just this. It's just an XWE guy. But at the same time, I don't really see it like that. You know what I mean? When it comes to gimmick matches, if there's constant gimmick matches, you will take a step back and be like, come on, like, boys. But again, as we said, the show as a whole just worked so well. It did have something for everybody. You had a class match with the likes of Kazarian and Christian. We had the Toy Conti tag team match. We had the 6-man tag match as well. The Good Brothers and Kenny Omega against the Lucha Bros and stuff like that. So there was a lot of actual wrestling as well. So that's what I liked. In terms of, we got your thoughts on the Best Friends match there. What about the Christian match? What do you think?
That was like match/moment of the night for me. Like you said, Christian hasn't missed a beat. He ages like a fine wine, and he's one of very few wrestlers who was able to maintain consistency and pace. Like, his ring awareness, his timing is just fucking excellent. Like, I was taken back to a moment of in that match, where his idea of being the ring veteran, even though Kazarian is like, they're both veterans, but the fact that like Christian is a more kind of well-established veteran, there was a couple of little nuances that he was doing. And I think we touched on this recently with another match or another couple of stars, and I can't remember who it was, where we were complimenting those little inner workings. I think it was with NXT or something, but we were like, I like how they sold this particular move, or how they did this, and I got the exact same feeling watching that match, to where I couldn't fault it. Excellent match. And it reminded me of when, do you remember Christian's world title from years ago with Orton?
Yeah.
How he got beaten with the RKO from the springboard.
Yeah.
He did the springboard, he got RKO'd. But then in their last match of the feud, he went to do the springboard, and Orton went up for the RKO, and he stopped himself, and then fucking and kicked him or whatever. It reminds me of that. It reminds me of how well he places himself in a match, and kind of his timing and that. Like, you never really hear of Christian being like someone who has to do these loud call outs like someone else. So, like, honestly, I look forward to him entering the main event scene, taking the belt. I want to look forward to maybe Miro beating Christian for the belt later on in the year.
Yeah. I'll be all right.
That'd be a good show for me. So yeah, that was my favorite. I could talk about it all night, but I won't.
Yeah.
And then like you said, Conte really coming into our own now on TV. Obviously we got Tim Rose versus Sheeta, to include the others, because we can't just talk about the one person in the match. All women made the match good.
They did. Yeah.
You know, and it was just enjoyable to watch. It's really goes against the grain of the bias that we have against another company's women's tag team, which we won't get into too much. But comparatively speaking, like, it was just so much stronger watching Dynamite.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't feel like I was watching something that didn't need to be there, and I wasn't feeling like something that didn't have at least more than 5 minutes thought put into it.
Yeah.
And the rest of the card was good. I think the 6-man tag match was good as well. Although regrettably, I don't think the Good Brothers are as good as they used to be.
No,
that's
they've regressed a lot. I feel, they're hard to watch. I feel lately they don't have any sort of entertaining quality to them anymore. To me, in my opinion, now, I'm not saying it's like that for everyone. Obviously, you have your favorites, or you have wrestlers you enjoy watching, and they are good in the ring. But at the same time, though, it feels like a few years ago, say, when they were teaming with AJ, whether it was WWE or even before that, obviously, in the likes of New Japan, they were fantastic. Like, it just feels like they're kind of stagnant lately.
I feel like they're not putting effort into their in-ring ethic.
Yeah.
Like if I reckon if you were to put them against, say, Penta and like Pac or something, like some absolute workhorses, someone who are going to be able to go until the moon. Yeah. It would really show their, maybe, I don't know, their age or their poor ethic.
Yeah.
I'd like to, if they're gonna play prick, dickhead, bastard heels, I want to see them do it the way they do it well. Just like interfere on the opposite side of the road, like fucking go around and make some noise. Just do something, like. Yeah.
Well, it is. They are kind of going backwards a bit again. Obviously, as you said, the ethic isn't there right now. But again, it can be. It's just you get comfortable, obviously. But yeah, so that's the kind of big bits anyway. Yeah, that's the big bits of AEW that we liked. As I said, we're not going to go into everything and kind of under the microscope, I suppose you could say. We're not going to do that because we kind of want to keep this short, because we're going to have an NXT one out as well tomorrow. So what we're going to do is we'll probably call it a day on this then, if you're all right with that.
I'm very happy with it, yeah.
Happy days, right? So that was our AEW kind of recap review, whatever you want to call it. If, as I said at the start, if you are watching this on YouTube, if you want to drop a comment, even let us know what you thought of Dynamite last night. We thought it was a fairly strong show. Literally not much to complain about, bar maybe one match or the moment or so, but that's really it. Drop a subscription if you haven't already on YouTube, and then do it, please. Trying to get 50 subscribers by WrestleMania time, which is next week.
That would make my heart warm and my pants covered in piss.
You could tell
what is this?
I was about to say that you could tell we're not monetized or anything like that. But so if you can,
till we do get that juicy ad revenue, and then all this will be deleted, and I'll wear a cap.
I'll wear the tux.
PG.
But so if you're watching this on YouTube, drop a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you are listening to this where you get your podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, give us a follow on there. It really helps us out as well in terms of getting out there. And then hit us up on the socials, The Discus Laria on Twitter and Discus Laria Collective on Instagram. And then until next time, then we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.